All right, so in this lesson, we're going to be talking about graphing from slope-intercept form. So first, we're going to start talking about what is slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is the equation y equals mx plus b. And in the past, we've graphed this using a table where we picked x values, and then we plugged those x values in using the substitution property and found y, and then that x-y combination created our points. Well, now we're going to talk about the relationship between this equation and the graph itself. And what we would find is that m is our slope. Just like we talked about when we talked about slope, slope is represented by the letter m. So our coefficient with our x is always our slope. That's going to determine our rise and our run. And then our constant over here, this b value, this is going to be our y-intercept. So this is where we start our graph. This is where the line crosses the y-axis. And so this creates that point 0, comma, whatever our y value is. So these are the things you need to know. So the y and the x are those values that are the points, right? I could plug in an x and I find my y. The m and the b are what we do, how we go from that x value to get the y value. So that's what forms our equation. All right, so these first couple examples are just how do we identify. We're just going to identify the slope and the y-intercept in the equation. So always remember, we're working slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. And so when I compare, my slope is m, so I'm going to go to the coefficient, so the number in front of the x, that's what a coefficient is, and that is my slope. So in this case, 3/4 is my slope. And then we go to our b value, and we need to look at the sign in front. So I know we read this as -6, but really what that is a -6. Because we could rewrite this whole thing to be y equals 3/4 x plus -6, and we get the same thing. So look at the sign in front of your y-intercept. That's what goes with your y-intercept. If it's a plus, then we have a positive y-intercept. If it's a minus, then it's a negative y-intercept. But that's how we identify the slope and the y-intercept. And we need to do this to make graphing easier. You have to be able to identify them to be able to make your graph. All right, so our next example, y equals a -x plus 20. Now, here you're maybe saying, well, there's no coefficient in front of that x, there's just the negative sign. Well, that is wrong. Every variable has a coefficient. It's just sometimes it's the invisible 1. And so what this represents is that there's one x, we just don't write the 1 in front of it. So our slope in this case, sign going with it, is a -1. And our y-intercept, notice that the sign's positive, it's plus 20, so then we're just a positive 20 is our y-intercept. And that's how we identify slope and y-intercept. So our slope is always the coefficient, slope always coefficient, and the y-intercept is always the constant. All right, so in our next video, we'll actually go into how to graph. This first video is just about identifying your slope and y-intercept given the equation.